am on. This is so exciting. I was supposed to do it at 12 o'clock, but then StreamYard was down and it wasn't working. And then I started to do it just now and it was saying that they had too high a traffic and wasn't letting me on. So yeah, I'm so excited to be live. This is great. And I hope you're all doing well and you have had a good June. It's crazy that we've already gone almost well, the last time I did a stream was on the 20th of May. And so it's been almost a month. So like, where does the time go? It seems like I just did it. So that's crazy. But I guess 3 weeks it's been. So yeah, wow. So I have the chat room open if you want to put in your comments. And if you want to do super chat, I will make sure to answer your question as long as it's appropriate. And I'll look forward to that. And thank you so much. That really helps so much. But let's talk about what I've been watching in cinema as far as movies go in the last 3 weeks. That will be fun. So the first thing that I saw since the 20th was actually Lilo and Stitch, the remake. I saw that that night, actually. And I think that I can understand why a lot of people really enjoyed this. I do think the design of Stitch was really cute. And make sure you check out our Talking Disney episode where me and Jonathan, we ranked all of the Lilo and Stitch movies, including the sequels. And that was a lot of fun. This one I just felt like was very samey to me of the original film. People got all upset about the ending. I don't understand why that upset people. It felt very nitpicky to me. And like very extremism. The idea that she's abandoning Lilo to the foster care system when it's a beloved neighbor, so she can go to school. It's not like she's leaving permanently. The whole thing just seemed bizarre to me, but whatever. Yeah, I think it's being given more credit than it deserves for taking risks and doing something different because it barely did anything different, in my opinion. And so it was just the same movie as the animated film, practically, but I guess like a slightly different ending. Um, I don't know. I'm like I think that it's fine, but I just prefer the live action remakes that take a little bit more risk, like a Pete's Dragon, is more my preference than this. This was completely forgettable in my opinion, but people making me defend it, which is frustrating. But here we go. Let's see. So we have this worked out for me. I had to work earlier and just got home. Yay! Oh, good. That makes me happy because it was just not working all day. So maybe it was all meant to be. It was all meant to be. I just thought that this Lilo and Stitch was completely forgettable. It was cute enough. I didn't hate it, but I don't know, just not for me. Then I saw a little rom-com called Things Like This. I interviewed one of the actresses. This is a gay love story, queer love story. And I liked the fact the casting was pretty like ordinary looking people, and their romance. I wish that they were more likable. I wish it was more charming. And I wish the script was a little bit better, but it was okay. It was watchable. And I appreciate certain things about it. And I had a lot of fun time interviewing Margaret Berkowitz, who was one of the female leads, supporting roles, and she was super fun. I really enjoyed getting to talk with her. So it's worth checking out if you want a rom com, because we're so starved for rom coms these days that you take what you can get, right? Okay, so then I saw The Phoenician Scheme, and this is just more of the same. It's better than Wes Anderson's last few films because it actually has like a cohesive narrative around it, and like more of the humor worked for me than in some of his other ones, where Asteroid City to me I felt like it was just all over the place with this like play within a play and with these different characters and their storylines. Some of them didn't even get finished. So, and I don't know. I just don't understand the love for Asteroid City. This one I think is better than Asteroid City. So if you're on the Wes Anderson train, you like what he does, you've liked his last few films, you'll like this for sure. But as someone who's fallen off that train quite a while ago, it didn't do anything much for me. It felt like a bloated cast. It wasn't that funny. I don't know. I'm just tired of his shtick. So then we have Miss Austen. This is on Masterpiece. This is a 4-part series. I wanted to like this more than I did. There just wasn't enough story here. Like Jane Austen, I think because we love her writing so much, we wanted to think she had this incredible life, but she really had a pretty simple life. The daughter of a pastor, and uh, not that much happened to her. So it was pretty simple. And so I think it's hard to make a 4-part series. And it was pretty dry. So that was disappointing. But then speaking of Jane Austen, we have Jane Austen Wrecked My Life. And I really thought I was going to love this because I love Jane Austen. I love romantic comedies, but it really was barely a romantic comedy. Again, they keep selling us on these movies and then not delivering. It was at best, it was a movie about a woman coming to her own and figuring out what she wants in life. It has like a little bit of a love triangle, but not that good of chemistry, not that romantic, not that funny. I thought it was very disappointing. So that was a bummer. And I talked about it with my friends over at Mashley at the Movies. They agreed with me about it. So that was nice to have somebody that agreed about it. Then I saw Legally Blonde in the theaters on the big screen. So that was really fun to see it after all these years. Because when I first saw it, I was taking the LSATs at the time. So it was very like relevant. And I just thought it was so funny. And I love its celebration of all things pink. And I loved this watching it again for all of those things. And I think it's really funny. I love the Broadway musical. If you ever get a chance to see the Broadway musical, Legally Blonde, you totally should. The songs are so good. It's really funny. I think the Broadway musical is even better. And they did a pro shot of it for MTV. So if you ever want to see it, you can look that up and watch it. It's really good. So there we go. Sorry. Okay. So then we have Karate Kid Legends. And I feel like I'm on an island alone. I really had fun time with this. I get the flaws. Like some of the plots is weird, that they have him being a boxing coach for a large section. But I thought the cast was really likable. And I'm a sucker for like an underdog sports movie. And so, yeah, it was like basic. I was very predictable, but I thought it was entertaining. I thought it was entertaining in its predictableness, in its predictability, with a likable cast that I was rooting for. And so, yeah, it's not amazing, but I enjoyed it. Then we have Raising the Bar. This is a locally made faith-based film about this high jumper, Alma Richards. And this thing, even though I am a sucker for underdog sports movie, this was too corny even for me. The dialogue was so stiff and it just didn't feel natural or earned or charming. And like the entire Olympics is all done on green screen and it just looks weird and cheap. And so, yeah, I like a little faith-based film, but this one just didn't do it for me, unfortunately. Then I saw Ballerina. And I'm beginning to think I've only seen 2. This is the second of the John Wick movies that I've seen. I'm beginning to think that it's just not for me. The first one, all the action was so dark, and so it took away from some of the like appeal of it to me. But I get that's like a stamp of this franchise. I just think this franchise is not for me. I felt like, yeah, the action was impressive, but it was very similar. Like you felt like you were getting the same scene over and over again, which, like to me, a good action film, like for instance, Raiders of the Lost Ark, like the action scenes, like one point he's like facing up against a sword fighter, and another point he's hanging off of a car. And then he has fist fights. He has like all the different kinds of action, I think, make it more fun. Whereas this, it was like, it felt kind of like the same scene, while impressive, again and again and again. I mean, the story, it's not going to do anything for you. It's a very basic story, but it's just whether the action, you find it fun or not. For me, I found it kind of dark and cloudy and repetitive, but it's fine. I just didn't love it. Then we have Tornado. This is an indie. This is director John McLean, and he has made a very beautiful movie. And what's interesting is that this movie and Ballerina are basically the same film. They're both have female protagonists. They're both revenge stories. They both have some action. This is more subdued action, but it is in there. Both pretty bloody at times. And I know they're very similar narrative and arcs and story, but this one I thought was just more compelling as far as the characters. It looked more beautiful, in my opinion. This is a much slower burn, though, much slower. And even though it's only 91 minutes, it's a slow burn as far as the pacing. So it won't be for everybody, but I thought it was a very like well-made Western with some compelling performances about this girl, this Asian girl in like what would have been like the 1860s or whatever, and she's stolen. There's these outlaws that have stolen this gold, and she's stolen the gold, and so they're and then something happens to her dad, and she gets on this kind of revenge for them. And yeah, I think it was a good one. One of the better movies in the last couple months. Then I saw Wicked. I went to the theater to see it again, to see the Wicked for Good trailer at the end, and that was really fun. I haven't had an experience quite like that in a while, especially for a trailer where everyone's just so hyped and cheering, and so it was very fun. I love the movie. I think it's so well made, so well done. I mean, I thought it was amazing that in the trailer they still didn't have anybody singing. You'd think after the first one was so obviously musical, they wouldn't try to sell the second one as not a musical. And it had music, but nobody's singing, which I just thought was amazing. But it still looks like a really good movie. It looks like they're going to have a lot more Dorothy than I expected. So they're definitely making changes to this second act, which you need to for Wicked to work as a standalone second act movie. So it's going to be very interesting. I'm very excited to see it. But that was a fun event to go to. Then I saw the How to Train Your Dragon remake. And this I actually saw right after seeing Wicked, which is kind of interesting. And I think that I feel very torn on this movie because I think the average person that's going to see How to Train Your Dragon remake will be satisfied with this. It's well made. You can see the money on stage. It's exactly shot for shot. I mean, there's a little bit more action, a little bit more scenes with them like hanging out in the with the other competitors and the thing, and that's it. Everything else, I mean, shot for shot is the same movie as the animated film, which I don't know. Like, why don't they take these live action as a chance to try to do something creative? And so often they do, and then it ends up being terrible. I just hate these remakes. They're just not for me. I don't know. But it seems like it's not going to be doing as well as I thought. I thought this thing was going to be just bringing in the money, but I don't know. I just feel no buzz. I feel like maybe Lilo and Stitch kind of took its thunder. It just seems like nobody's talking about it or excited about it. I don't know. Very surprised. We'll see, but I didn't think it was gonna. I mean, I thought it was gonna do really well. So it's gonna be interesting to see. But then let's see here. I hear ya. I'm not a fan of remakes in general either. Yeah, it's just what's the point? It's so cash grabby. It's so frustrating. I don't know. No, thank you. Okay, so then we have The Life of Chuck. So on one hand, I want to support this film because it is so original. I've just been criticizing these remakes for not being original. Here's a very original film that tries a lot of things, and I respect it for that. I've seen it twice just to make sure I was giving it a fair shot. Um, and I think that the first and third acts are pretty good, like decent little like morality fables and about why we're going to live how we're living our lives. But then this second act is so heavy-handed and dumb. I'm sorry, but like this whole thing of you have to dance to the beat of your own drum. Not only do they have a literal drummer and a literal dance sequence, but they have a narrator telling you that you need to dance to your own drum. It's just like, oh my gosh. It's just so it feels I said in my review that I felt like somebody took those "Don't Sweat the Small Stuff" and made, like, a feature film around "Don't Sweat the Small Stuff," and I'm like, those "Don't Sweat the Small Stuff" are okay as, like, a little meme or a little, like, encouraging saying, a little tweet here, not a whole movie. Literally, this whole movie is about, like, don't be afraid to dance, live life to the fullest, have a like, come on. It's just it's so trite, and I don't know. I just don't get like how people are seeing all of this incredible moving, tr- to this. It's just so weak, I think, in any kind of real like that this to me it's almost like sad if like this is life changing. Come on. Like this is such basic stuff. So I don't know. I didn't like it. I don't think it's good, but if you're looking for a really cheap pick me up, then I guess if you want that, then it's there, but I don't know. I don't get it. I don't get it. Okay, so then we have Good Night and Good Luck, and this was very exciting because it was the first ever live streamed simultaneously telecast Broadway show that's ever happened. We've had, of course, pro shots before, but never a live stream of the actual performance happening on Broadway. So it was super cool, and it was on CNN. And in some ways, I wonder if this play is actually better as a live stream because the set is quite sprawling and big. And some of the reviews that I said, because I felt like they kind of got lost a little bit in the studio set. And so, because you can, go in, do a close up in the live stream, I kind of wonder if that's actually going to help it. I also thought that the script was pretty good. That they managed to put in enough. There's like a little side romance. There's other friendships, relationships that like it didn't feel like the play was preaching to you the whole time, which it could have easily felt like. And they do have this big monologue at the end and everything, and that's fine. But I I felt like they did a good job of kind of making it palatable because of the romance and because of some other stuff happening. And Clark Gregg, if you're a fan of his from Avengers, he's in this. I think he's the producer of Edward R. Murrow's shows, and I thought Clooney was solid in the role. And I hope they do more of these because it got great ratings. So I hope they do more of these because that would be awesome. Because it's getting more and more difficult to go to New York, and even if I did get to New York, the tickets for this were like $700. So I couldn't have afforded that. So I'm glad that I got a chance to see it. So that was really cool. Okay, last one we have Materialists. This y'all know I was pretty disappointed by this. It's frustrating because they were definitely advertising it as like a romantic comedy, like A24 style. They had all these interviews with Celine Song about how she misses the romantic comedy and everything like that. So I think relatively rightly so. I went in expecting this to be a rom com with this love triangle between the two guys and Dakota Johnson, And it's really not that hardly at all. Hardly at all. It's about her as a matchmaker and her coming to terms with what she wants as a human being in her life, and also how her how her philosophy of human beings impacts those around her, including who she matches. Um, that's it. I mean, there's a little bit with her and Chris Evans, but there's no love triangle. She dates one, and then she dates the other. There's not really any kind of battle between the two. So it just wasn't fun, like at all. I can understand how people might enjoy it as a drama. There's literally a sexual assault at one point that occurs. Like, it's not fun, this movie. It's not funny. Um, it feels like the kind of thing that Woody Allen would have done in his heyday, with the sort of the cynical New Yorker complaining about dating and relationships. But like, he was actually funny and insightful. And this is just not funny. And it just felt like, oh my gosh, like I didn't want to go to this movie to hear how much it sucks to be dating in 2025. I know that. I wanted to escape. I wanted to have something enjoyable. So this was very disappointing to me, and I was just so hopeful that she'd use this opportunity to, because Past Lives was such a success, and that she would use this opportunity to do something that nobody is doing right now, which is the rom-com, the theatrical release rom-com. There's no genre that is as uh, relegated to streaming as the rom-com. And that's so frustrating to me. Even movies that, like Bridget Jones this year, straight to streaming. The one with Anne Hathaway last year, straight to streaming. Red, White, and Royal Blue, straight to streaming. These are movies that I'm convinced could have had a healthy little run at the box office. Some of the most successful movies ever made have been romances. Pretty Women, Ghost, The Notebook. Those two aren't rom-coms, but the romances. They've done very, very well. Even the Bridget Jones movies have done incredibly well. So it's just so frustrating. And I was just so hopeful that this would be better, but I can understand why some people are enjoying it. But it just felt very like the insight that it had felt like I've seen this in a million other movies before. I don't know. I'm frustrated by it. It was very disappointing to me. So that's the movies. So let's talk about theater. I've seen so much since we last updated. So let's talk about it. Okay. So I went to a concert, an Elvis concert with Elvis impersonator Travis Allen, and he was very entertaining, very fun, very personal. He did a long set. It was over 2 hours, so that's pretty impressive. This was at the Ideal Playhouse. They have a bunch of these cover bands, and it was really fun. They have projections that they put out onto the walls, and I think they could even do more of that in this concert. But I really enjoyed that. Then I saw Tuck Everlasting at Center Point, and this was crazy because while I was going up to the show, there was this truck that veered all the way onto the one side of the road and then veered all the way off and then went down into the ravine. I had to slam on my brakes. It was crazy. And then, so it was kind of crazy. Like, I had this kind of scary experience, and then I get to this musical, and it's all about, of course, Tuck Everlasting is all about life and death and immortality. And so it was kind of a crazy experience that way. I do think that this show does not need to be a musical. The songs are pretty forgettable. The only part I'm glad it is a musical because they have this last act ballet that's absolutely beautiful, and that I did love that ballet. They did such an incredible. This is such a great company, Center Point here. It's so reasonably priced, such quality productions. So yeah, I recommend it still, but it's a little boring, I think, the show, to be honest. Then we have Noises Off. This was at the Parker Theater. This is a long sit. It has 2 intermissions. It's long, but very funny. I was laughing throughout. It was very well directed. All the little attention to detail throughout were perfect. Where all this sardines are, where all the different props are, getting to make sure they're all in the right place to make the comedy work. Very very fun. Um, then let's see here. Then I saw 12 Angry Men at Hale Center Theater. This in their Jewel Box theater, the smaller theater. And this was definitely like a risk for Hale to do a one room play. Like previous to this, they did in this space, they did Little Women. So this was interesting for them. And I thought the acting was all outstanding, exactly what you want, because this is an actor showcase. And they did a good job like creating atmosphere, and they had projections in behind the windows at the back to show the rain. So that was pretty cool. It was a very nice looking set. But it all comes down to the acting, and that was excellent, really good. One of the better. Right now, they have Finding Neverland, and they have 12 Angry Men, both excellent from Hale. Then I saw Tootsie. This was at the Egyptian, and I had heard mixed things about this. It was way better than I expected. I thought it was pretty funny. I liked the fact they didn't try to really make the lead character Michael like make him likable. He's kind of a jerk, and he sort of learns a little bit along the way, but not too much. Like I think it worked for his character and the personality and the arc, but I think that this would have worked better if they kept it set in the 1980s, like the original film, because so much has changed as far as gender and I don't know. I just think it would have been better and more funny if they kept it in and social media and everything. So, but I did like it. And I liked the songs. I thought they were pretty good. So it was good. I saw High School Musical at BYU. This was an incredible production. They had these two screens that looked like cell phones on the side, and they had these streamed in video, or they had this video that they taken in at East High, which was kind of fun to do here in Utah. Incredible set. Some of the singing wasn't as good as I usually hear with BYU, but I still really enjoyed it. Then I saw Dreamgirls. This was my first time seeing Dreamgirls on the stage, so that was really fun to get to see it. This was at the Grand, and I thought their Effie was pretty good, was solid, and the Laurel was also quite good. The costumes, the live orchestra, that was all very impressive. Most of the other talent was struggling. Maybe it just wasn't their best day. The acting and the singing. And it's kind of I don't think I'd be super excited to see it again. It's kind of boring. I didn't love that show, but I appreciate that they took that risk and they tried. Okay. So then we have Pride and Prejudice. I saw this at the Charitable Acts. This is Melissa Leone Larson, who I interviewed for On Stage Blog. You should check that out. This is great adaptation of this book. And of course, I love Pride and Prejudice. And this was really cool because they had 3 different sets of stage. They had it divided. And so they were able to easily move in between each of the houses and the settings and stuff. And I liked the cast. It was entertaining. Then I saw Alice by Heart. This was at West Valley. This is by Duncan Sheik, who did Spring Awakening. And I just think the songs are extremely forgettable. And this is an okay production. I felt like it was very shouty, and they didn't do enough sort of like to differentiate between what was the wartime stuff and what was the Wonderland stuff. And I feel like this company isn't using their theater in the round as well as they could, and they're picking material that isn't really that good for theater in the round. Play that goes wrong, chorus line, this, and they didn't use the platforms on the stage at all. And I think that was a missed opportunity, and they could have done some interesting stuff. It's okay if you want to see something experimental. The talent is definitely there, but yeah, it's not my favorite. Then Sound of Music. I saw this Draper Amphitheater, and this was cute. It had a cute cast that were all sort of trying their best, and it's. I like this musical. I like the movie much better than the stage musical, but I've seen such amazing things at Draper Amphitheater that this one felt a little weaker than what I usually see from them, but it was like perfectly fun for a night of community theater. Then I saw Emma, and this was at Bluffdale Arts, and Bluffdale Arts is they are doing their shows in the summer for free, which is super cool. So it's a great chance for you to take your friends, family, kids, take them to a theater. They're doing Charlie's Aunt next, then Freaky Friday, so you can see it for free. So that's super cool, and they even have popcorn and lemonade. The only thing that I thought this was charming and enjoyable. I love Emma. The only thing about this is it was a very long sit, and the transitions took so long, and it was almost 3 hours before we were out there. So that was a little taxing, but still, I enjoyed getting to see it. So that is everything. There we go. That is everything. So let me know what you have been watching movies and if you've seen anything on stage. Have you seen any of these things I've talked about? Would love to hear your thoughts in the comment section or hit me up on Twitter. And you can find me all over the place at Rachel's Reviews, everywhere that you should check. And if you can like this video, subscribe to the channel. Really appreciate it. Check out the Patreon. We had our patron Q&A with writer Zach Hug this week, and that was super fun to get to talk with him. So if you want to have these cool experiences where you get to see behind the scenes of how movies are made, then you should join the Patreon. Plus, we have our Facebook group and we have bonus episodes. Please check it out. I would really appreciate it. And then the merch store, we have tons of fun designs. Check that out. And thanks so much, everybody. We'll talk to you later. Bye.